This has, just been kind of like released to me about, what is it, about an hour ago. There have been reports in reference to the pay-per-view numbers for Gervonta Tank Davis versus Hector Luis Garcia, that it was around 58,000 or so pay-per-view buys from, direct carrier. So that's like ordering through a cable company or whatnot. So for me, some people kind of like will say, "Oh, that's a failure." But number one, I'm gonna explain a few things with that. 58,000 pay per view buys with the 74.99 per charge. That's 4 million. That's 4 million. $4.3 million, right? So you got to take that $4.3 million and compare it to what those guys, Gervonta Tank Davis and Hector Luis Garcia, were paid guarantees. So that's the thing. If you had around a cap of 58,000, that's just saying, like, we could just say that it was just 58,000 pay per view buys, not even counting what was on the app, Showtime app, or Paramount Plus, or anything like that. Let's just do that, and we just multiply that by the $75, $74.99. That's still $4.34 million pay per view revenue. Okay, now if they had a guarantee of just $1.5 million total for the purse, and you got a $4.3 million, pay-per-view revenue, they still got back end money for that. And not only that, you still had that story about the gate being $5 million. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. Big ups to D1 on the live chats, checking in. Shout out to you, D1. Like I said, you're gonna have about $4.3 million pay-per-view revenue. You're gonna have $5 million there at the gate. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I think that was around shout out to Undercard Boxing once again on the live chat. He says through the reports it was like Tank got 1.5 million guaranteed and Hector got 500K guaranteed there, and that you still have to work with the pay-per-view back end revenues from that. So, they got the guarantee. As long as they were able to meet that guarantee of $2 million, if that was the report for $2 million total for the purse, anything after that is a profit. So, I'm trying to jump in front of this here. If you have that report there of 58,000 pay-per-view buys, people are going to say, "Oh man, that was a dud. That was a failure. That was this. That was that." They don't know about things when it talks about pay-per-view revenue, what a break-even point is. Okay. So if they made that break-even point and surpassed that, then yeah, they made money off that. Okay. So they were able to do what they needed to do in order to, get the money and also get pay-per-view back-end money. Then, like I said, you also have the gate receipts of around $5 million at the Capital One Arena for all of those people that bought those tickets. So I know that Oscar De La Hoya looks like he's trying to get a little bit more money for Ryan Garcia in this case, but hey, Ryan Garcia is not a pay-per-view draw. He hasn't had a pay-per-view fight. He hasn't really had a fight where a gate has been that much north of $1 million. You're comparing that to someone that's had multiple $4.5 million gates. So I know that you're trying to get more money off of this, but good luck. This is the same Oscar De La Hoya that was dealing with Canelo Alvarez that had to go through the 11th hour in order to sign the rematch with Gennady Golovkin. So it's like he wants to try to do the same thing that Gennady Golovkin did to Canelo Alvarez when Canelo was on the Golden Boy. That's not a good look. I'm sorry, that's not a good look. But like I said, when you have Gervonta Tank Davis, even with just that pay-per-view, you could take that out of the way. Okay, that's just 58K. But the other ones that he's did have been north of 100K pay-per-view buys that have had pay-per-view revenues of over $10 million. So that whole thing about, hey, you only made this much from this particular pay-per-view. What about the other pay-per-view events that he's done. You got to also take that into account. So I think that a lot of people will try to run with that whole thing with the 58K or whatever it is and just go by the number of 58K when they don't talk about the pay-per-view revenue, how much it is, and then also the amount of pay-per-view buys that have happened in Tank Davis's previous fights. So that's that. And so you gotta, take that what it is. And yeah, as one person has said, there's still more pay-per-view buys than another notable fighter in the welterweight division. So I'll just leave it at that.